You know, we're only 59 days into the year and we've already recorded our 57th murder. New Orleans police found an unidentified teenage male in an abandoned apartment at 2100 Thayer Street earlier this evening. He died from multiple gunshot wounds. Police say drug paraphernalia was found all over the apartment. Authorities have no suspect and no motive at this time.
In yet another violent crime tonight, police are searching for a gunman. 26-year-old Charles Gorman was struggling with a man in the 3300 block of Elysian Fields when the man pulled out a gun and shot Gorman in the back. Gorman is clinging to life at Charity Hospital at this hour. Police are also reporting another shooting and a stabbing. All have taken place since 4:30 this afternoon.
We have shots fired in the 2000 block of Washington.
Suspected drug dealer Vernon McKay was in court today. He pleaded not guilty to bail jumping charges. He didn't show up for a sentencing date on an aggravated assault conviction, and he still faces federal charges of running one of the largest drug operations in the St. Bernard housing project.
Margaret, a 17-year-old, is dead after being gunned down inside one of the city's housing developments today. Police say Bobby Davis was hit several times while he was riding his bicycle in the Magnolia project. They have no suspects or motives for the murder. If you have any information that could lead to an arrest, Crime Stoppers is offering a reward. The phone number to call, 822-1111.
Well, tonight, police are still investigating another violent episode in New Orleans. This latest killing brings the city's murder total now to 203.
To fully understand the mindset of this individual, you must first have a clear picture of the environment that surrounded him. Killings in New Orleans received widespread publicity, but drug-related shootings in low-income areas made 1989 New Orleans' most murderous year on record for the 80s. Two unrelated weekend killings brought the city's murders to 242, two above the 1979 record of 240, per at the time Police Superintendent Warren Woodfork. As far as violent crimes are concerned, 1989 was a treacherous year in New Orleans.
From WDSU-TV New Orleans, this is 6 News.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Gary Mattingly. Escalating crime, drugs, and kids killing kids were no doubt some of the issues raised by top law enforcer Janet Reno. The Attorney General addressed the Federal Bar Association in New Orleans tonight.
Almost 60% of the slayings that took place were drug-related. About 40% had taken place in the public housing projects of New Orleans. This story takes place in the infamous Magnolia Project, aka the Noya. Mo D, aka Blacky Moe, cousin of Eric Maurice, was one of the most notorious killers and jack artists to ever step foot in the Noya.
More crime strikes the streets of New Orleans. This time, it was a robbery that ended in murder. New Orleans police say two men wearing masks and armed with guns entered an automobile stereo shop at 1025 Baronne Street around 5:30 tonight. They reportedly ordered 5 people to the floor, tied them up, and took their wallets. One of the suspects then went into the sales area and shot the victim. His name is not being released. The gunman fled with an undisclosed amount of money. No one else was injured. Police tonight are looking for those gunmen.
At a young age, Blacky Moe was groomed by the older gangsters that came before him. And just like his predecessors, it wouldn't be long before Blacky Moe was pulling off acts himself. Known for being a notorious hitman, Blacky Moe was also one of the flyest dressers out the Noya. The younger generation would stare in awe, hoping to one day get a chance to be as fly as Blacky Moe. The late 80s, early 90s was popping. Breakdancing and hip-hop was in full effect. This would be during the era of Janelli silk shirts, nylon tank tops, velour, Christian Dior jogging suits, and ballet shoes. If you know, you know.
Ballet mean you was an elite nigga, and you had to have certain ones. I ain't talking about the little tennis for $75 and shit.
Coming up in the impoverished environments of the Magnolia Project, most of the young dudes who were making their way off the porch wanted to be just like Blacky Moe. It was these young dudes that Blacky Moe would groom, putting them on game as how to move in the streets. However, for the younger kids, Blacky Moe, who knew what he was into, would run them off, attempting to keep them out of harm's way. It was no secret that during this era, Blacky Moe's name was ringing in the streets as a notorious hitman and extortionist. When you're living the life of a gangster, you have to be prepared for everything that comes with living the life of a gangster. No stranger to busting his gun or being bust at, Blacky Moe would get hit up himself while in his own project. Terrance Williams, aka Gangsta, would take to his platform to run an ep about Blacky Moe being crept down on by a man disguised as a bum, pushing a Winn-Dixie shopping basket. Shots would ring out as Blacky Moe would grab hold of Terrance and duck for cover in one of the project hallways. Although he was hit, Blacky Moe's injuries would not be severe. By no surprise at all, this wouldn't be the only time that Blacky Moe would have near brushes with death. While trying to pull off a caper in the Melphamine Project, aka the Melf, Blacky Moe would get jammed up on one of the ramps in the project. Blacky Moe's partner, who was on the link with him, started letting off, making it possible for Blacky Moe to flee from the ramp. However, the men would not go unscathed. During the incident, Blacky Moe's partner would be grazed. Ultimately, they would both hop in a taxi, fleeing the scene. The projects of New Orleans are not the only dangerous areas of the city. Neighborhoods within the wards of New Orleans are just as dangerous. The 12th Ward, aka the Dark Side, another notorious hood known for killers and hustlers, was one of those hoods that wasn't to be played with. Just to put you on game, in the early days of Cash Money Records, several of the videos were filmed in and around the 12th Ward, more particularly around or in front of the graveyard.
I was like 15. My mama passed, y'all. But, you know, in that times was harder for us as people, so he didn't really have much to offer nigga but some clothes.
Not one to back down from any hood or project, in typical Blacky Moe fashion, Moe D would attempt to put his extortion game down on one of the well-known hustlers out the hood. However, this plan would not go as planned, leading to a shooting that would leave one dead and one injured. Without having to say, I'm pretty sure that you know from there it would be up and stuck. The beef was on and popping. Despite murders, jacking, and kidnapping, Blacky Moe was also a hustler. During this time, that hard had the city under siege. Dudes were going from little dirty bum dudes to seemingly being that nigga overnight. Not only Blacky Moe, but every other street dude would take advantage of the high demand for that hard and start moving that work themselves. After making a few little dollars, Blacky Moe would cop a white Ford Taurus station wagon. Don't get it twisted, wagons were the shit during this era. Maxima wagons, Audi wagons, Camry wagons, just to name a few. Let's get back to the ep. One night after leaving the Joy movie theater on Canal Street with his girl, Blacky Moe noticed they had a flat tire. With the current beef going on at the time, in my opinion, this should have been one of those things that raised a red flag. I'm not sure why the decision was made not to put the spare on, but the tire would never be changed. It could have been one of those unfortunate times where there was no jack or no spare to change the tire, or he didn't want to get caught down bad out there trying to replace a flat tire. Let's move on. Blacky Moe and his girl would ultimately hop in the whip and proceed to head home. Before getting into the car, Blacky Moe's girl asked him to catch the back seat. What was her reasoning behind that, you may ask? In her own words, she was afraid that Blacky Moe's weight would affect the flat tire had he rolled up front with her. Out of nowhere, as they were heading home, gunshots would ring out near the Greyhound bus station, hitting Blacky Moe 21 times. This would lead one to believe that they had been set up and watched by the ops the entire time. After the shooting, Blacky Moe was hospitalized due to his injuries, where he would remain for days. Rumors were circulating around the city that Blacky Moe's girl had set him up. The streets weren't buying that flat tire and backseat story. However, Terrance Williams would dispute those claims, as he was present at the hospital with Blacky Moe and Blacky Moe's girls to witness their interaction. Blacky Moe, who had sustained serious life-threatening injuries, was eventually put on life support by medical staff per doctor's orders. Blacky Moe's condition would send his mom into a deep, dark depression. Seeing her son laid up like that was far too much to handle. After having a conversation with Donald Dyer, aka Blabber, another certified gangster from the NOYA, Blacky Moe's mom would agree to taking him off life support so that he would no longer suffer. News of Blacky Moe passing would rock the Magnolia Project. Teen girls.
Now this update for you at 6, nearly 17 years in the making. A hitman hired by a former New Orleans police officer to kill a woman was sentenced to life in prison. 44-year-old Paul Hardy avoided the death penalty after a judge ruled Hardy was mentally retarded. Back in 1994, former NOPD officer Lynn Davis hired Hardy to kill Kim Groves after Groves filed a brutality complaint against Davis. Kim Groves' 2 children addressed the court before today's sentencing. Lynn Davis, by the way, is currently appealing a death sentence.
Blacky Moe would get caught up trying to go with the move and be jammed up on the ramp. Stuck on the ramp with nowhere to go, face to face with his ops, Blacky Moe was shit out of luck and about to meet his fate. Just when he thought it was over for him, Gaylord would start letting off, allowing Blacky Moe to be able to escape the ramp. All would not be sweet, however, for Gaylord, as he would be grazed in the nuts during the altercation. Lucky enough, Gaylord and Blacky Moe would hop in the cab and flee the scene. Both would live to see another day. Gaylord would eventually heal from his wounds. Needless to say, Gaylord saved Blacky Moe's life that night.
A lot of murders committed in broad daylight, maybe playing two-hand touch football, and a guy just walk up to another guy and just shoot him 20, 30 times. And you stuck as a child, you can't move because you really don't know what to do. So, you just stuck right there. And over time, it becomes normal to where, somebody's got killed around, okay, whatever. And that's pretty much how it was growing up in the Magnolia Project.
Tillman says he's noticed a summer surge in violent crime.
There has definitely been more crime since the summer, since this summer has begun. And we've had more killings.
We expected this uptick in homicides.
Assistant Police Superintendent Marlon DeFillo commenting after 4 people were killed in less than 24 hours last week, including a double murder here in the Iberville housing development.
So traditionally, we see an increase in the summer months because everyone's outside.
The murder rate in New Orleans has already surpassed last year's, and the negativity that comes with the killings, once again, making national headlines. WDSU reporter Gina Swanson explains that the bad publicity comes at a time when people all across America are keeping a close eye on what's happening here in the Crescent City.